One of the things that I enjoy doing sometimes is looking around on eBay for test equipment that other people had built somewhat from scratch. And I've got a few examples of that, and this is one of the nicer examples. According to the seller in the description, this was built in, as they put it, a world-renowned Canadian physics lab, now defunct. I'm kind of curious to know what that place might have been, if anybody knows. And this was a transistor tester that was built from a circuit in the General Electric transistor manual, 1964 version, 7th edition. And this is, let me hold that up here. This is essentially the circuit that they built with a few modifications to have it running on line power. And it's a pretty nice piece of equipment. Very nicely done for the period. Nice homemade wooden case. Really robust build. Nice clicky buttons that you don't really see anymore. And somebody really put a lot of work on this and did a really nice job on it. And if you turn it over on the back side, it will actually show you the that same circuit that's in the transistor manual with some instructions and a couple device outlines, and then noted February 20th, 1975, epoch. So I assume that must be the person that built this. A really nice job. I mean, this thing's getting close to 50 years old, and like I said, somebody really put a lot of work into this. And I just thought I would show this off a little bit, and then I'm going to demonstrate here in a minute. I'm going to shut the camera off here, and I'll pull the two screws out of the top, and we'll open it up, take a quick look inside. Okay, here's the internals of this home-built, scratch-built transistor tester. Pretty simple construction overall. Couple switches. Got a little calibration pot right there across the meter. Simple power supply. Really nicely done, and it turns out it works really well. Nice box. I keep looking at this box. Somebody did a nice job on that. But I'll put this thing back down if I can get a little bit closer picture of it, closer look of it here before I kind of zoom in a little bit on this without getting too crazy. I'll just kind of pan across here. But nice 70s, 60s, 70s style construction. I don't know if I can show the top of the power supply there or not. Probably not a real good look at it. But I'm going to put this thing back together, and we're going to test a couple transistors with it. Okay, I've got it set up here to do some testing. I think what I'll do, I've taped a bunch of transistors to a piece of paper. I've got some 2SC 945Ps and the 2SA 733Ps. Those are complementary transistors. And then I wanted to look at a germanium transistor and then just a couple other random ones. But I think I'm just going to do, it's going to be a little bit tedious watching me hook these up individually. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the highest HFE and the lowest HFE of the 945s and 733s, and then maybe a couple of the other ones. And then at the end, on the notes it says that you can use this as an ohm meter as well, and we're going to look and see how, I have a couple precision calibration resistors. We'll see how close that it is, the homemade scale is, to check out resistance. Okay, I struggled a bit to get a really good image of this meter. What I can't do is I can't stand it straight up because it's set up to be lying down. If you stand it up, then the zero position goes way off, or the part position, I guess, not the zero position necessarily. So I'm going to try this, and hopefully you can see the needle deflect. Right now it's connected up, and as you can see, there's no leakage at all, no deflection of the meter at all. And then when I push the gain button, then we go up to about 10 and a half. I can't see it straight on with the camera in a way. A little bit more than 10 and a half on the meter. That's with the HFE of 197. The highest HFE of this device, that's a 2SC945, by the way. The highest HFC of these that I have on this little piece of paper is a 336. So I'll connect this up, and we'll hit the button. And see, that goes up to 11.6, 11.7. Like I said, I can't see that straight on, so approximately. So it shows a higher amount of gain than the previous one did. The next two I'm going to do are the complementary to that, the 2SA733. It's a PNP, so I'll have to run this switch over to PNP. Get that back in the screen again. Okay, the lowest HFE of the ones on this panel was 241. So I'll connect these up and we'll see what we get. Okay, that shows way higher, clear up to 14. Actually, that's the HFE of 241. That's actually the lowest one. Let's see, do I have that hooked up right? Let's see. ECB, yeah. It's interesting how it shows really high on that one compared to the other ones. Let's see. That was actually the lowest HFE. The highest one is 343. So let's try the highest one and see what we get on that. Yeah, so it nearly pegs the meter as well. So it definitely shows whether you have gain or don't have gain. The next one I have here is going to be an NPN. It's a germanium transistor, a GE417. It's a old top hat style. Not so old that it's a top hat with the pinch top on it, but it's still pretty old. Let me hook it up, and you're going to notice when I do connect that up, there's going to be some meter deflection here. Okay, let's see. See, it shows a small amount of leakage, which is what you will get with a germanium transistor. And we'll hit the gain button. It shows pretty good gain too. So this thing, it rather than giving you like good hard numbers, it's kind of like a tube tester. It's like a no go. Either you have a good test or you don't have a good test, and it seems to do a good job at that. I've got a couple resistors here next that we're going to try. We'll connect these up to the collector and emitter, and we'll get a deflection on this display. So this one here happens to be a 2.2 kilo ohm. Let's see, do I got that hooked up to the right one? No, I don't. Got to hook it up to the right leader. It doesn't work. There we go. And as you can see, with the somewhat calibrated display, we aren't that far off from 2.2 kilo ohms. Next one I've got here is a 22 kilo ohm, and all three of these resistors are pretty high percentage. They're like a 0.01%, so they're high accuracy, I guess I'm trying to say. So it's a 20 kilo ohm. So we'll connect it up and see what we get here. And as you can see, not doing too bad on that either. Pretty much right at 20 kilo ohms. So it's actually reasonably accurate for an analog display, hand built. I'm sure nobody has calibrated this in 30-40 years. I got one more here that isn't going to show very well. It's an 8 ohm, 0.01%. Mainly it won't show very well because this doesn't have that low of a display, but I thought I'd just hook it up anyways. You can see it pretty much buries. You're never going to be able to tell if that's 8 ohms or 10 ohms there. Because that 0.5, that's 0.5 kilo ohms. So from 0.5 kilo ohms to 0 is highly compressed. So you wouldn't use it to check for very low resistances, but it's not designed for that. It's designed to check for leakage. If you hook it up and you've got leakage in your transistor, if it's an NPN and you've got any leakage at all, it's no good. And if it's a germanium, you better have a small amount of leakage. So overall, it seemed to work pretty well. I just thought I'd demonstrate it here, and thought somebody might be interested in this. And if anybody knows anything about this or knows about the Canadian physics lab that this was built at, like I said, it said now defunct world-renowned Canadian physics lab. I'd be really curious to see where that place is and get a little bit of history on it. I'm sure everybody else that sees this would be interested as well.